everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm really glad you could join us today. So I am down at the Umpqua River again. I'm on my way to go see some family and I thought I would stop off here. Now we have been here before on my buckets video. You can click the tab right there. Now when we were here last, this channel was completely dry and we were able to punch down to the clay layer out there and we were finding pretty good gold. But the rains have come because it's wintertime, and as you can see, the whole channel has flooded. So we're not going to be able to get out into the midsection, which was where we were finding the best. So we're going to work along the side here and try to find a pay streak that we can definitely identify. And then I'm going to classify a couple buckets to bring home. But we're going to explore along here and let's see what we can find. We're going to give this little hole a chance. There's some bedrock exposed right there. Somebody has sampled this spot. I want to see if they found anything. Few tiny little specks in the pan, but not enough to keep me here. We're going to work down towards our spot where we were at last time. Okay, so we're working along the bank right now looking for signs of where we should dig, and I've come across another hole that somebody else dug, and this one looks a little more promising. So the reason why I say it looks more promising is you guys can see this red soil right in here. So that's been primarily where we've been getting our gold. You can see that up above it turns into a more sandy gray layer, and then it turns into this red layer. So we're going to do a pan of this and see what's in here, because this may be a good spot. They might have worked down to the clay layer, so I'll expose some of this back to see if we can get to the blue clay. But this looks like a decent spot, and then we'll work down a little further. The place where we were before was right about where my finger was, so you can see just how much water has come up in the last couple of months. So we got a couple tiny little specks again in there, but definitely not what we get out in the main channel. Excuse me. So I'm going to work my way down a little bit more. We're going to keep exploring because higher up on the bank it doesn't seem right. Now I should check just below that, check the next layer down just to be sure, and then we'll head down. All right, so I didn't really find anything in those two previous holes. I was hoping to. Looks like somebody did a little test one down here, but just into sand. You're not going to find gold in sand. Maybe I'm doing this wrong. I need to get into prospector mode. There. Now I'll find gold. So this is where I had been digging. My hole is right there, and we were able to drive right across this spot. But you can see from all the holes that we've dug in this area, we've created these nice little ripples through here. And I can see where there are some other spots, like right there where there had been a deep hole. Right over there somebody dug a deep hole, and right over there there's actually a drop off from where somebody had been digging. So now that we're close and we're a little bit lower than we were over here, I'm going to try to find a spot to punch down. You can see where some people have tried to punch down to the red and clay layer, but it's pretty wet. I have a feeling I'm going to be doing some wet pans, but let's get in here and see if we can find anything. So we are consistently getting this little fly poop out here on the edges of the river. So I think I'm going to work my way down past this channel, down around the corner a little bit, and see what's down there. First trash find of the day. Boy, That would feel great in the kid's foot. But look at all these pretty rocks. Second trash find of the day. This one's pretty cool. We got ourselves a snorkel. Never seen one with dots on the bottom. Well, better out of the river than in. It's full of dirt. Well, it looks like we've made it to the end of Lawson Bar. Let me show you what it looks like. So that's the other side of the river. We're just past the bar up there. There's some nice bedrock sticking up over there that would be great for a dredge. But as you can see, we're on a big sandbar and the water's pushed its way through here. But you can see when I step over here without falling in, that water just drops right off and it's sand as far as I can see. So the gravels are further out. So I have no choice but to go back up river and try to find a spot up there to dig for a little while. But Republic Mining, a club that I'm part of, just acquired a new claim on Boulder Creek, which is about an hour away from here. So we're gonna go try upriver just for a minute. And then if anything, we're gonna go check out that new claim because it's new. Why not? All right, so the gold's getting a little bit bigger. Boy, these GoPros have a hard time doing macro. I punched a hole right there, which is very close to where I was digging in the summer. So the pay streak is running right through the center. Right about where my finger is where the pay streak is going through this section. And it's going pretty much up through the center all the way up to those rapids. So I know there's some gold right here. So I'm gonna do another test pan and then I'm gonna actually bring my van down and get a bucket. Yeah, bring some sand home to run, or gravel to run at home. But I want to see what's up at the top up there and do a test pan up there because I've never done up above. I've done out here on the rocks and found a little bit of gold. I've now sampled pretty well through this area to determine the best is out there in the middle of the river right now. But I'm going to get a bucket of this material to take home. We're going to test up there and then I think we're going to go check out that other claim. All right, so I found a little bit more color in that hole we were digging. So I went ahead and filled up a bucket and put it in my van. That was fun. But now we're at the top. You can see that we've got some drift boaters out here about to go through the rapids. Now this summer I plan on doing some sniping out there. That's gonna be a lot of fun. But we are at the uppermost part of the bar before it turns into private property right there. So I'm looking around here and I'm seeing a lot of sand mixed with this gravel. So I might work my way back down a little bit, but I do want to kind of see what's in this area. Now that bucket, we're going to run it home and we're going to compare it to what the gold was like when we were here last summer. Now, if you remember, we took about 7 buckets and classified it down to 1 bucket of 1/8 inch material. So we will classify this stuff down to an 1/8 and run it through the cube and see just how much gold there is. I may actually empty a couple tool buckets in my van just so I can get a few more buckets of the sand before we go and we can get a good comparison. So I'm gonna do one more hole, we'll see how it goes, and then we'll check out that other claim. Okay, so we didn't end up digging another hole at the Umpqua because a couple vehicles of crackheads with a bunch of noisy dogs showed up. And I get enough of that in Portland, so I skedaddled. So we are on another creek about an hour from the Umpqua, and I'm not giving locations because some of this area is not claimed, and if I find a good spot, I would like to claim it. But it's pretty beautiful, as you guys can see. We got some nice big boulders in here along this creek. The river's pretty high, so finding a spot to test is going to be kind of interesting. But we're going to go over here and see if we can find anything. If I can't get a pan in the water, that's fine. This is really an exploration, just like a first trip, just to see what we can find. I would like to get my pan in the water though and see what these gravels have. but the water looks like it's pretty high and not showing much right now. So let's get down here and see what we can find. So it's a little loud, but check this out. There's a spine of rock right there, and it's created this channel that's coming through. And the water can only go these two ways. I really want to come back this summer and see what's inside of here and along there. But as you can see, it's going to be kind of tough finding some gravels. A lot of bedrock though. If I could just find a nice little crevice to crack into. This moss is slippery though. I don't want to fall into that water. The water looks cold. Okay, so below this pool, there's a lot of gravels in here that I can't really get to. So what I'm doing is I'm reaching down. There's some bedrock right here, and I'm just trying to scoop along it and bring up some material. Unclassified. Let's see what's in there. Nothing. But I'm kind of not surprised. There were some black sands. Okay, so I did another test pan in the hole. Didn't find any gold. But in the classifier, I'm finding all the indicators that says that there is gold here. It just needs to be sought out and found. So when I look in the pan, I see a lot of rocks that have gone through metamorphosis. There's some quartz in here. There's some really nice brecciated quartz. You know, it's broken up and reformed. I'm gonna keep that piece, put that in the bag. I'm seeing everything that tells me that this is gonna be a creek to come back to. It's a nice little agate. And yeah, we're gonna come back here and check this out more because one, I think it's gonna be a good spot for rock hounding for the rock tumbler. But I know that there's going to be gold here. I just don't have time to be here any longer because I need to go see some family before I head south tomorrow to do a job. So, ooh, that's nice. So I will see you guys in the morning. And good morning, guys. So I was supposed to go to Brookings today to do a quick job. That job got canceled. So let's head back north. We've got a bucket of gravel to run and let's see what gold's in there. Okay, we're back at the house. So we didn't end up getting to go further down south because the part didn't arrive for the job. So I saw some family, I came home, I have everything set up and we're ready to run the sand. Now this Home Depot bucket right here, it's got the material that we got that day along the banks with the water up high. And I classified out the large material and we've got a little bit less than half a bucket in there. Now the dark red bucket is the treasure bucket. Why I call it the treasure bucket is because that's a bucket that we got earlier in the summer from that location at the Umpqua, but it was when that high channel was completely dry and I was punching down in the center. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's in this bucket. We're gonna run the small bucket first, clean it up, and then we'll run the second bucket and clean that up. So when I see you guys at the end, I'll be able to show you what we have out of each and compare what was along the side of the river compared to the belly of the river. Now we've got our normal gold cube set up. I've got 2 tubs going with a siphon in the middle that's picked up off the bottom. I've got a bucket for collecting the gravel because I'll use that over here in the garden. And then my pump, which I'm running a 2,000 gallon per hour today, that's feeding the system with the 12 volt battery. I really like using this table for stabilizing everything. It just makes it easy, picks it up, and puts it right here at my waist level. Now we're only going to run three trays today, And the reason why I'm doing that is I know that this gold is going to stay basically within the first 2 trays because I do have V-groove on the top. So that'll slow it down, and quite a bit of the gold will get captured here, pretty much all of it on the 2nd tray and a little bit on the 3rd. After that, the gold that you might get isn't really worth the amount of time for cleanup, so I'm just gonna run 3 today. Now, when we run this black sand that I have from the beach, I will add another tray in on this, just so that that black sand has more area to run. So let's get feeding this thing, and let's see how much gold we have. Okay, so that's the amount that we got from the river the other day. And first examinations, I see a few specks of gold, but not a lot. But that's expected because this came from along the bank, which is much higher and further away from the bend in the river. So I didn't really expect much from here. So what we're gonna do now, shut it down, clean it out really quick, put that to the side, and then we will run this bucket of stuff that comes from the belly of the river. This is what I'm really excited to see. We'll get that running here in a second. This stuff has a lot more clay in it than the other bucket did, because out there in the middle of the river, there was a very defined blue clay a very defined blue clay level right underneath the red gravels that we were digging. And I took the first inch or 2 of that clay as well. So I'm really excited to see what starts to show up on the mat after we get through just a little bit of this bucket. Yep, I can see some gold. So I'm starting to see some pretty decent gold in here. Some nice little pieces. And we haven't gotten very far into the bucket really quick just because I wanted to change the angle of the camera. It was pretty neat to see the river really high because you could really see where everyone had dug during the summertime. And you could really tell that the river was filling in all of those holes and reworking that river. Because wherever there was a hole, that concreted gravel that was real solid and had to be hacked through is just getting slammed by water. And that is ripping that up and moving it along. So I'm really excited to go back there this summer and see what kind of gold we can find there. And I'm sure that I'll run into more people. I love running into people down there that are going after the same thing as me. When I was down there the other day, they were catching a lot of steelhead. So we're gonna run through this bucket. We'll get everything cleaned up, and I will see you guys when we're at the cleanup. All right, so this is the top tray for the gold that we got out of the red bucket, which was from the belly of the river. And you can see there's lots of gold all through here, but that's my favorite piece so far. Now, try to get the camera to focus a little better. You can see that there's some red to it because that layer that we're getting it from has a lot of rusty red in it. Now I see a few little pieces of gold down in here, but I think most of our gold got captured right here, except for what maybe got down with the clay. And I'm hoping that that got broken up inside of those areas. So we're going to take this apart now and get it cleaned up. And I will see you guys once we've got these in the pan. Okay, so in this pan, we have the first bucket, which is from the gravel that we dug along the banks of the river. And you can see a couple bigger pieces in there, but a lot of it is really fine gold. But that's one reason why I love the gold cube, is that it catches that fine gold. But look at what we got in the main belly. That is the gold from the belly of the channel, where we will hopefully be able to get to here soon once the river drops down. You can see some of the red in that gold and some nice bigger pieces in there. So I had a lot of fun going out and testing that area. The water is really high, so it gives me some ideas of where to check this coming summer once we go back. I'm pretty happy with the gold that we got, and I'm really happy with the gold that I got from that bucket that I had saved. So if you liked the video, give it a like, subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys at the next video. Bye.